no matter who you are, no matter where you've been, no matter where you are right now. You are welcome here. Welcome to Daily Audio Bible Chronological. I'm Jill, and you are welcome here on this second day of February. Truly, maybe some of you have never felt like you've belonged anywhere. I'm so glad that you're here. And this is a safe space, and you are welcome. And I am so glad that you are here, and that the Bible is a part of your day. And I pray that it transforms you from the inside out and renews your mind, and that you know God far more intimately through His Word. We got us a story here in Exodus. We're just a few days in. A lot took place, as it does over the weekend, and we're here. Moses has been called by God to lead the Israelites out of the land of Egypt, and this will not come easily. And rarely does anything that is so freeing and so good, right? Rarely does it come so easily. Sometimes when it does, it's too good to be true. I remember hearing, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. There's something you're missing, or you're not being told. And boy, we do this to ourselves sometimes, right? We take such a long way, such a detour of a long road that we didn't have to. But because of God's grace and His mercy, when we turn, when we admit our mistake, it's that easy. When we admit our wrongdoing and turn, He is faithful and He is just to forgive us and to set us on the right path. We continue on this journey in Exodus today, reading the 10th chapter through the 12th chapter, and we began a brand new translation yesterday. We continue reading the New English Translation, Exodus chapter 10. The Lord said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, in order to display these signs of mine before him, and in order that in the hearing of your son and your grandson, you may tell how I made fools of the Egyptians, and about my signs that I displayed among them, so that you may know that I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron came to Pharaoh and told him, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has said. How long do you refuse to humble yourself before me? Release my people so that they may serve me. But if you refuse to release my people, I'm going to bring locusts into your territory tomorrow. They will cover the surface of the earth so that you will be unable to see the ground. They will eat the remainder of what escaped, what is left over for you from the hail, and they will eat every tree that grows for you from the field. They will fill your houses, the houses of your servants, and all the houses of Egypt, such as neither your fathers nor your grandfathers have seen, since they have been in the land until this day." Then Moses turned and went out from Pharaoh. Pharaoh's servants said to him, "How long will this man be a menace to us? Release the people so that they may serve the Lord their God. Do you not know that Egypt is destroyed?" So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, "Go serve the Lord your God. Exactly who is going with you?" Moses said, "We will go with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, and with our sheep and our cattle we will go, because we are to hold a pilgrim feast for the Lord." He said to them, "The Lord will need to be with you. If I release you and your dependents, watch out. Trouble is right in front of you. No, go, you men, only, and serve the Lord, for that is what you want." Then Moses and Aaron were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. The Lord said to Moses, "Extend your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up over the land of Egypt and eat everything that grows in the ground, everything that the hail has left." So Moses extended his staff over the land of Egypt, and then the Lord brought an east wind on the land all that day and all night. The morning came, and the east wind had brought up the locusts. The locust went up over all the land of Egypt and settled down in all the territory of Egypt. It was very severe. There had been no locusts like them before, nor will there be such ever again. They covered the surface of all the ground so that the ground became dark with them, and they ate all the vegetation of the ground and all the fruit of the trees that the hail had left. Nothing green remained on the trees or on anything that grew in the fields throughout the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh quickly summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. So now forgive my sin this time only, and pray to the Lord your God that he would only take this death away from me." Moses went out from Pharaoh and prayed to the Lord, and the Lord turned a very strong west wind, and it picked up the locusts and blew them into the Red Sea. Not one locust remained in all the territory of Egypt. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not release the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "Extend your hand toward heaven, so that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness so thick it can be felt." So Moses extended his hand toward heaven, and there was absolute darkness throughout the land of Egypt for 3 days. No one could see another person, and no one could rise from his place for 3 days. But the Israelites had light in the places where they lived. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, "Go serve the Lord. Only your flocks and herds will be detained. Even your families may go with you." But Moses said, "Will you also provide us with sacrifices and burnt offerings that we may present them to the Lord our God? Our livestock must also go with us. Not a hoof is to be left behind, for we must take these animals to serve the Lord our God. Until we arrive there, we do not know what we must use to serve the Lord." But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was not willing to release them. Pharaoh said to him, "Go from me. Watch out for yourself. Do not appear before me again, for when you see my face, you will die." Moses said, "As you wish. I will not see your face again." The Lord said to Moses, "I will bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will release you from this place. When he releases you, he will drive you out completely from this place. Instruct the people that each man and each woman is to request from his or her neighbor items of silver and gold." Now the Lord granted the people favor with the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, respected by Pharaoh's servants and by the Egyptian people. Moses said, "This is what the Lord has said. About midnight I will go throughout Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt will die, from the firstborn son of Pharaoh, who sits on his throne, to the firstborn son of the slave girl who is at her handmill, and all the firstborn of the cattle. There will be a great cry throughout the whole land of Egypt, such as there has never been, nor ever will be again. But against any of the Israelites, not even a dog will bark against either people or animals, so that you may know that the Lord distinguishes between Egypt and Israel. All these your servants will come down to me and bow to me, saying, 'Go, you and all the people who follow you, and after that I will go out.'" Then Moses went out from Pharaoh in great anger. The Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt." So Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not release the Israelites from his land. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month is to be your beginning of months. It will be your first month of the year. tell the whole community of Israel, on the 10th day of this month, they each must take a lamb for themselves according to their families, a lamb for each household. If any household is too small for a lamb, the man and his next-door neighbor are to take a lamb according to the number of people. You will make your count for the lamb according to how much each one can eat. Your lamb must be perfect, a male, 1 year old. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. You must care for it until the 14th day of this month, and then the whole community of Israel will kill it around sundown. They will take some of the blood and put it on the 2 side posts and top of the doorframe of the houses where they will eat it. They will eat the meat the same night. They will eat it roasted over the fire with bread made without yeast and with bitter herbs. Do not eat it raw or boiled in water, but roast it over the fire with its head, its legs, and its entrails. You must leave nothing until morning, but you must burn with fire whatever remains of it until morning. This is how you are to eat it, dressed to travel, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. You are to eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. I will pass through the land of Egypt in the same night, and I will attack all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both of humans and of animals, and on all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are, so that when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and this plague will not fall on you to destroy you when I attack the land of Egypt. This day will become a memorial for you, and you will celebrate it as a festival to the Lord. You will celebrate it perpetually as a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you must eat bread made without yeast. Surely on the first day you must put away yeast from your houses, because anyone who eats bread made with yeast from the first day to the 7th day will be cut off from Israel. On the first day there will be a holy convocation, and on the 7th day there will be a holy convocation for you. You must do no work of any kind on them, only what every person will eat. That alone may be prepared for you. So you will keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because on this very day I brought your regiments out from the land of Egypt, and so you must keep this day perpetually as a lasting ordinance. In the first month, from the 14th day of the month in the evening, you will eat bread made without yeast until the 21st day of the month in the evening. For 7 days, yeast must not be found in your houses, for whoever eats what is made with yeast, that person will be cut off from the community of Israel, whether a resident foreigner or one born in the land. You will not eat anything made with yeast. In all the places where you live, you must eat bread made without yeast. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and told them, Go and select for yourselves a lamb or young goat for your families, and kill the Passover animals. Take a branch of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and apply to the top of the doorframe and the 2 side posts some of the blood that is in the basin. Not one of you is to go out the door of his house until morning, for the Lord will pass through to strike Egypt. And when he sees the blood on the top of the doorframe and the 2 side posts, then the Lord will pass over the door, and he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses to strike you. You must observe this event as an ordinance for you and for your children forever. When you enter the land that the Lord will give to you, just as he said, you must observe this ceremony. When your children ask you, What does this ceremony mean to you? Then you will say, It is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, when he passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt, when he struck Egypt and delivered our households. The people bowed down low to the ground, and the Israelites went away and did exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. It happened at midnight, the Lord attacked all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the prison, and all the firstborn of the cattle. Pharaoh got up in the night, along with all his servants and all Egypt, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was no house in which there was not someone dead. Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron in the night and said, "Get up, get out from among my people, both you and the Israelites. Go, serve the Lord as you have requested. Also, take your flocks and your herds, just as you have requested, and leave, but bless me also." The Egyptians were urging the people on in order to send them out of the land quickly, for they were saying, "We are all dead." So the people took their dough before the yeast was added, with their kneading troughs bound up in their clothing on their shoulders. Now the Israelites had done as Moses told them. They had requested from the Egyptians silver and gold items and clothing. The Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and they gave them whatever they wanted, and so they plundered Egypt. The Israelites journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth. There were about 600,000 men on foot, plus their dependents. A mixed multitude also went up with them, and flocks and herds, a very large number of cattle. They baked cakes of bread without yeast, using the dough they had brought from Egypt, for it was made without yeast. Because they were thrust out of Egypt and were not able to delay, they could not prepare food for themselves either. Now the length of time the Israelites lived in Egypt was about 430 years. At the end of the 430 years, on the very day, all the regiments of the Lord went out of the land of Egypt. It was a night of vigil for the Lord to bring them out from the land of Egypt. And so on this night, all Israel is to keep the vigil to the Lord for generations to come. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is the ordinance of the Passover. No foreigner may share in eating it, but everyone's servant who is bought for money after you have circumcised him may eat it. A foreigner and a hired worker must not eat it. It must be eaten in one house. You must not bring any of the meat outside the house, and you must not break a bone of it. The whole community of Israel must observe it. When a resident foreigner lives with you and wants to observe the Passover to the Lord, all his males must be circumcised, and then he may approach and observe it, and it will be like one who is born in the land. But no uncircumcised person may eat of it. The same law will apply to the person who is native born and to the resident foreigner who lives among you." So all the Israelites did exactly as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. And on this very day, the Lord brought the Israelites out of the land of Egypt by their regiments. Let's do a little bit of catch up. A lot took place over the weekend as we entered the book of Exodus. We'll just grab and touch the highlights to get us up to speed in the reading of where we are today. So we began the book of Exodus by remembering the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 sons of Jacob. These are the sons that entered into Egypt, and they remained there. Joseph's passing has taken place. We have a new ruler of Egypt, a new king, and he does not know about Joseph. But what's happening is what is supposed to happen. The Israelites are growing in number in the land of Egypt, and this new leader that does not know or care about Joseph responds in fear. If war breaks out, they will be outnumbered, and therefore his fear says he's got to do something. Now, we can turn a page and we can have the reminder of where we left off in the story, and then we get introduced to a new person in the story that we're going to be with for a while, and it can seem like no time has passed. We just turn the page and this is what happened, but we have to understand from the time of Joseph's passing and to the time that Moses is born, 400 years approximate have taken place. And so this brings us context of how the Israelites are multiplying in number. And so we have the birth of Moses. So Moses will be the next major player in our reading. But he didn't just show up after Joseph died. A very long span of time took place. Then we read how Moses flees Egypt, and then God calls Moses to go back and to free the people from Pharaoh. Now, Moses understands that he's not an eloquently speaking man. Moses was known to have a stutter. And here God is calling him to go back and to speak, to take on Pharaoh, the leader, the king of Egypt, so that God can free the people from Pharaoh. And isn't it interesting? The people in the Bible that try to talk God out of what he calls them to by pointing out the thing that would disqualify them. Do you identify with Moses in any way? Moses is like, you want me to speak to a man, and there's an issue with the way that I speak. And perhaps the fear is, will Pharaoh even take him seriously with the way that he speaks? But God is clear that God will speak to Moses and tell him what to say to Pharaoh. All Moses has to do is listen to the voice of God, and God will instruct him. So Moses does just that. He goes to Pharaoh and tells him what the Lord, the God of Israel, has said, to release my people. And Pharaoh responds, who is the Lord that I should obey him by releasing Israel? I do not know the Lord. And I love that God gives a foretaste. He gives a glimpse of what will happen. And he continues to give the reminder all throughout the instruction of the plagues, because Pharaoh is not budging. In fact, not only is he not budging, he is trying to outperform God through the instruction of magicians, giving the illusion that they are performing the same things that God is doing. But God, through his relationship with Moses, continues to instruct him, continue to state his intention. I will harden Pharaoh's heart until he truly knows and fears God. This is why it's essential for us to know the voice of God in our own lives with our own ears. This is also why we have to silence the outside voices and stop the distractions in our own lives. I mean, we get discouraged when we don't see the hand of God moving as quickly as we demand. And sometimes the process is so fast, but oftentimes it's not. It's a process. And sometimes the process is 4 hours. Sometimes it's 4 days, 4 years, 40 years, 400 years. And I realize that this presents a much bigger question, especially for many people who believe they've never heard the voice of God. And how do you hear the voice of God? This comes by prayer. This comes by his word. And I heard such a beautiful thing about prayer recently. I'm going to keep saying it because people are new here every day. We think prayer is us just talking to God, but that's a one-sided conversation. How well does it go for us when we need to communicate to people and we just do all the talking, or that person just does all of the talking and we never get heard? An active conversation requires active listening. It's not just talking to God, it's also listening to what God may speak and say to us. So there's lots of ways to talk to God. There's lots of ways to practice hearing the voice of God, but what it requires is listening. And I know for a fact that it can be hard to listen when there are lots of voices talking at the same time. So sometimes we have to silence the voices, and sometimes we have to just get quiet so that we can be alone with God. And if you don't know how to talk to God, the very best way, I think, to start a conversation with God is hi. And maybe even a more honest approach after high is, I don't know what to say. In everything we have read so far in the Bible, people that have spoken honestly to God, God has heard them. He has not shamed them. Maybe they haven't always loved his response, but he has heard them and he has spoke in return to the people that have spoken to him. Why do we think God will stop with us? Okay, back to the reading. Moses obeys God and he goes back to Pharaoh and he demands the release of God's people. And we have a very interesting thing in our reading that takes place. And I had to really wrestle with this last year. And I will honestly admit here again, I got it completely wrong last year. I had a real hard time understanding that God himself would harden the heart of Pharaoh. But here it is. I could not fathom why he would do this and call Moses to demand the freeing of the Israelite people in Egypt at the same time. Like, how does that work when it seems that they're working against each other? But it is indeed a part of the story. And we witness this in the reading today as the plagues then begin to take place. And what we have to understand is God is hardening Pharaoh's heart because there is a greater plan, a plan that affects far more people and a plan that has a greater effect than Pharaoh just releasing the people and still not knowing this God who is the God of the very people that he has enslaved. So as we continue through the reading and throughout the story and these plagues that have taken place, we have to understand that there are some layers underneath this that we really have to try to understand and sit with. And in doing so, we understand the heart of God, the character of God, and our relationship with God more intimately. And so we'll pause here today and continue to unpack the story, Moses, the plagues, and the release of the children of Israel tomorrow. Jesus, we thank you for your word. I thank you that we can approach you. I thank you that you call us and we try to talk you out of that which you've called us to do. We disqualify ourselves. We point out our flaws, our shortcomings, and you use the very thing that we would try to degrade ourselves with, to dismiss ourselves with. It has very little to do with us and our ability. It has everything to do with our obedience, our willingness to be in relationship with you, listening to you, knowing your voice, and responding to that which you have called us to, so that you can be glorified, so that you can fulfill the greater purpose at work that we cannot yet see. I pray that as we hear your word, we would come to a greater understanding of what surrender to your ways, your voice actually looks like. Thank you for hearing us when we pray. Thank you for speaking to us when we're not even sure you're listening. I pray this all in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.